Today, I'll be sharing with you 10 reality-altering life hacks for your life here in South Korea. So whether you're new to the country or you're planning on coming here, stay tuned, because these 10 things will change your life and your experience of living here in South Korea. Welcome to another video from the Live in Korea channel. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything of any future videos that are coming up on the channel. Today I'll be talking about 10 things, 10 life hacks, 10 things that will make your life here in South Korea a little bit easier. So if you are new to South Korea, if you're just coming here, or if you're already living here, I hope that some of these will come in handy. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. I don't know why. It's very strange weather we're having. The first thing I want to talk about is moving. A few months ago, I posted a video about moving from one place to another here in South Korea. And there was a few people that had a look at it and were very grateful that there was a video on moving in South Korea, because that's not really something that people post on YouTube. One person in particular, another YouTuber by the name of Ollie, he's based in Daegu, had a look at it, and he said that it was helpful to him because he was about to move, which he did just recently. But by looking at the video, he posted a video of that move on his channel, which you can look up. I will link the video below this video. But I noticed that there were some things that I did not mention in my moving video, which I should have had mentioned, so I am going to do it now. In Korea, the way the moves are done is you hire a company, the company comes, they pack everything up for you in your apartment, they put it all in boxes, then the boxes are carried into the van and the van drives off to carry it to the next location. If your apartment is located high up, you have two options of doing things, and usually it's recommended to hire the second option for places that are on higher floor, and that is to hire a crew that has a elevator / ladder which they can use to move the furniture from the apartment through a window and then lower it down on the escalator or the elevator into the van. That option is a little bit more expensive though. To give you an example, the last move that we did cost us about $1,000 or 1 million won just to move across the street. Ollie paid about 250,000 won for his move, and that involved 2 or 4 men moving all of his boxes from his apartment to the van, down the stairs without the escalator, or the elevator rather, and then transferring them over to his new apartment. The one thing you need to keep in mind that although the movers come in to move things, I would like to point out that they are movers, not curators, like I mentioned to Ollie. These guys will pack everything into boxes and cram it quickly, and if you don't pay attention and don't supervise, they will not pay much attention to what gets broken or damaged. I mean, they do their best to not break everything, but clearly these guys are trying to move quickly and sometimes things get damaged. So my recommendation is to pack all your valuables and take them with you. Pack the valuables yourself and leave the hardcore stuff, the pillows, the cases, the beds, the furniture for the movers to move. The second thing is shop around. Find out what movers are out there. The best thing to do for you as an expat in Korea is to get a local, a native Korean speaker involved who can help you figure out which companies do a better job. In the end, it's all the same essentially, but the same standard prevails. You get more bang for your buck. So if you spend a little bit more money, you might get a few more movers or fewer movers, but they may be a little bit more efficient, a bit more careful. Try to get the help of a local who can help you figure out which moving company may be a better solution, better option for you to go with, so you don't run into problems like damaged furniture or maybe misplaced things. The second tip is, if you've been living in Korea for some time now, then this will not be any news to you, but if you are new to the country, know this. When you go to a restaurant, particularly the barbecue restaurants, all the side dishes and all the things that you get outside of your main menu, you can request for refills. So things like kimchi or bean sprouts or carrots or whatever else comes in the small dishes, you can always ask for refills. It's something I didn't know when I first came to Korea, and it's a very interesting thing to know because oftentimes you will find yourself running out of things like kimchi in a dish, and then you're sitting there with a full meal without having any kimchi if you like kimchi. I personally like kimchi, but there's other side dishes like bean sprouts, zucchini, and other things that you can always ask for a refill. Tip number 3. When reviewing visas in South Korea, my advice is to make an appointment ahead of time. Whether you're here for the first time and you're just getting your E2 visa, which is the English teacher's visa, if you've been here for a longer time and you simply have never gone through the process before of renewing a visa, I would suggest to get online and make an appointment ahead of time before you actually go to get your visa renewed. It speeds up the process and it saves you a lot of time having to wait at the immigration's office, particularly with the COVID-19 situation in place. I've just had to renew my visa last month, and there are security checks at the door which prevent people from coming in. They only let in a certain amount of people at a time, so scheduling an appointment ahead of time is highly advisable. If you are here on an F6 visa like myself, the F6 visa is a spousal visa for people who are married to Korean nationals. There are 3 things that you need to bring with you. Your family registration stuff, which you can obtain from the local village office, your passport, and you have to make sure that all your bills and all your receipt and taxes are paid in advance, or you'll be sent away on your way and have to come back with all the proper paperwork. When it comes to address changes for F6 visas, or any other visas really, it is said that you need to stay on top of that. The reporting changes in address late will cost you a lot of money in late fees. I don't know how that works exactly. That was not the case for me. Maybe because I had to go back 3 times because I was missing my paperwork, and being at the office for the 3rd time in a row that same day may have rendered the immigrations officer a little bit confused, or just maybe less careful when she was processing my visa application. What I simply did was I wrote my new address on the application form. It was different from the address that was on my alien registration card, and she just ran it through without any questions. So I don't know what the procedures on late reporting of address changes are, and I do not recommend delaying reporting your new address. But perhaps if you're on an F6 visa, having to report a new address is not that big of a deal. I think it's starting to rain a little bit. Okay, tip number 4, shopping for food. Right now with the COVID thingy-majiggy, people are unemployed, lots of teachers are not working, our business is shut down. That's another reason why I'm asking people to make sure to subscribe to the channel, help us get monetized, because it really does help us a lot. Hit that subscribe button. Food prices here in South Korea can get pretty high at times. 2 pieces of advice that I have is to either shop in the open air markets. The second piece of advice, and that's a really good one, I think, is to go to large supermarkets at around 9 p.m., about an hour or so before closing time. That's when the markets put all of their food, or a lot of their food, on huge discounts because they are trying to get rid of the day's stock, and so they lower the prices drastically and you can get some really good discounts. So check out your local supermarkets, the larger ones, not the tiny ones, but the larger ones like Lotte Mart or whatever else you've got in the neighborhood, at around 9 p.m. or whatever time the store closes. I think most stores close around 10, so an hour before they close, check out those markets and you should be able to get some pretty good discounts on food. Tip number 5, food disposal. Korea is pretty big on food garbage, recycling food. And I saw on the internet somebody recommending keeping your food garbage in the refrigerator. Nah, the easier way to do it is go to your local market, a small one I think will do, and you should be able to find those little green food disposal bins. They're about 5 liters and they cost about 5 to 10,000 won. And you can use those to keep your food disposal garbage. If you are located in a high-rise, then the food disposal is not a problem. You can just take your food to the food disposal garbage on a regular basis. But if you are living in a smaller kind of villa, 3-story high building, oftentimes these places do not have their own food garbage disposal bins. And in order to get the little food garbage disposal chips, all you need to do is go to a local GS25 market and they sell them in small packages of 10 for about 2,751 or so. Tip number 6, bank accounts. The very first bank account I ever got when I first came to Korea in 2005 was with the Nonghyeo Bank Group. It's an okay bank account if you are living inside of Korea. But if you would like to use your Korean bank account outside of Korea, then Nonghyeo falls flat on its face because it doesn't really function outside of Korea. So my recommendation is to get a bank account that you can use outside of Korea because occasionally you'll be traveling. So the Korean exchange bank may be your best bet. Online resources recommend getting online banking. For me personally, I have never used online banking, mainly because I've found that most online services, particularly those from banks that are provided in English, tend to fall short of their expectations. Usually you will have the first page that may be crisp in English, but as soon as you click a link on that mint page, that will direct you to another website which will not be in English and you're stuck. For simple transactions, it's the easiest to go to the bank, but I mean, if you want to tinker about with online banking, then you can do that as well. Whatever the case may be, I highly recommend you getting a Kakao Pay set up. And that brings me to tip number 7. If you have your own phone and you can function well in Korean, then you can do that yourself. But if you don't, ask a Korean friend to set you up with Kakao Pay. It's a really cool feature of the Kakao chat. You can connect it with your bank account. You can send money from Kakao Pay to any bank account you choose. You can send it to credit cards even. You can send money from any bank account onto your Kakao Pay account, and then you can make purchases online using your Kakao Pay. And because Kakao is one of the biggest chat apps here in South Korea, it does have a lot of connections with many other applications. I believe you can make purchases using your Kakao Pay on things like places like on websites like Coupang or 11th Street or any other ones. So having a Kakao Pay service is very convenient, and you always have access to your cash and it never gets lost, even if you replace your phones, because you already have a Kakao account set up that is not centered on your phone. You can basically log into your Kakao Pay on any mobile phone and use it there. For your online shopping needs, consider Coupang. It seems to be a pretty commonly used app and it's pretty easy to use, and they do have a lot of stuff. But you might need a Korean friend to help you out with the whole registration process. Remaining on the whole Kakao topic, let's move to point number 8. And that is Kakao Maps. For my entire duration of stay here in South Korea, I've always used Google Maps. But I recently discovered the love of hiking through the mountains. And I found that Kakao Maps, because it is a Korean app and it's localized for South Korea, which means that it renders it a lot more accurate than Google Maps. I find that the Kakao Maps have a lot more detail in terms of street names, and since now it's available in English, there really aren't too many reasons for hanging on for dear life to the Google Maps. You could always have both and see which one works better. Granted, the Kakao Maps are not 100% in English. Again, there are some options where you click on an English link and it opens up Korean options. But for the most part, it's manageable. And like I said, it's a lot more detailed particularly when it comes to hiking in the mountains here in South Korea. Tip number 9. Tip number 9. This is for very new people coming to South Korea. If you're new here and you're struggling to find friends, try looking at Facebook groups. Over the past few years, Facebook has exploded with all kinds of groups, and it seems like every single city in South Korea has its own expat community, and there will always be somebody trying to make Facebook groups on different things. Here in Ulsan, we've got Facebook groups for shopping, for finding jobs. There is a Facebook group for writers, for debaters, for ultimate frisbee players, rugby players, soccer players. There are groups for moms who are married to Korean men. There are groups for men who are married to Korean women. There are groups for fathers in Korea. So if you're struggling to find friends in South Korea, just head over to Facebook. and find a group that you might be interested in. And if there isn't one, start it. There might be somebody else who is looking for the same thing, and you'll be the one providing that very service to them and helping another fellow expat find more friends. And so point number 9 kind of slides neatly into point number 10, meaning don't be a passive expat. Don't be a passive person who expects things to happen to them. Don't stop learning, don't stop wanting to explore and learn new things in Korea. After all, you are in a foreign country, which you have never been to before. Maybe if you have, well then, same thing applies. Venture out, explore your surroundings, ask questions for impossible tasks, and if you don't get the right answers, tackle these tasks yourselves and get the answers that you're seeking. So maybe you can provide them to other people. Tackle these tasks on your own, get your own answers. Don't wait for people to provide you with answers. Don't go to groups asking them where the nearest Starbucks is. There are many ways in which you can find where the nearest Starbucks is. There are Google Maps. Now you know of Kakao Maps, which is also very accurate. And if everything else fails, just venture outside of your door and just walk around, get lost in a city. That's the best way to find anything, really. The transportation services in Korea are pretty tight. You've got buses, you've got taxis, and if you're in a larger city, outside of Ulsan that is, you will also have subways. And because the locals are pretty friendly, you can always ask people for directions. There's a lot more Koreans now who speak English, and so you shouldn't have any trouble finding people with whom you can communicate. And even if they don't speak a lot of English, they'll still be able to kind of explain to you where it is that you want to go. So this last point is more of a life hack, really. Stay curious. Don't rely on other people providing you with answers. Find your own answers to the questions that you have, and you will find that life is a lot more interesting. Take control of things by learning about them and finding answers for your own questions. That's it for today. I hope that these 10 mind-altering, life-altering life hacks were semi-helpful. If they weren't, still feel free to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. All the best to the new teachers here in South Korea. All the best to all the people who have been living here in South Korea for as long as I have, or anywhere in between. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear a mask, don't binge on toilet paper, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.